welcome to Turn Right Machine Works. My name is Keith, and today we get a start on this new project, and I'm glad I get a do-over. In fact, hence the name of the video. We have a universal head off of a K&T sent in to us by Tom in Hollywood, California. Now, he purchased a machine used, like a lot of us do. And sometimes that machine is really low ball on the price and stuff like that, and later on you find broken things that need attention and or need replacing, so that you get the full function of that machine. And that's the case here at Tom's. Now he had a rough time getting it apart, but the damage that was already done to this when we come in close, I'm going to show you signs that show that this break in this part here was damaged. The damage started way earlier on it, and I'll show you how I can tell that as well. We're going to be looking at a lot of pecker tracks on here because the mechanic that originally worked on this, his technique molested a lot of these surfaces here, and we'll be getting into that as well. Some people have a problem or inexperience with mechanics and taking machinery apart, and some of us, like myself and A-Bomb, and I know a lot of other guys there in our community as well, they jumped into this trade with vigor and respect for the elders, and learned a lot. I got involved when I did get involved in machine work in the shipyards. I was involved with the hands-on of repairing a lot of machines, and you learn a lot of different machine designs and how they go about making the locks and the ways and the lead screw, and how they make adjustable nuts, and a lot of the actual design inside the paint job on the machine is where you get to go. You get to take a lot of gearboxes apart, and you see where you can run in with spring-loaded balls that hold detents, and there's just how wicks and oil flow and things. There's an enormous amount to learn by taking a machine apart. And if you're not fortunate enough to have some of that experience, sometimes things can be tricky and you don't really see what's holding what you want to take apart. Everything on a machine is logical, and it was put together, and unlike some of the Japanese cars, but we'll go there. Anyhow, these machines are built and designed, and a lot of times they can be repaired and just a simple disassembly and reassembling is part of the key of keeping it up to par, up to snuff, and your tolerances and operation and all of that. With all of that said, we're not going to be pointing fingers like this at any one person, other than person X creating the damage on this, and we're going to be looking at that as we go. I'm going to bring you in close so that we're just going to sort of like go over the job here before I put in the chunk of material that I just bought, and it came in yesterday afternoon, so I was ready to. In fact, I actually ordered two just in case I scrapped one. It does happen occasionally, and hopefully not, because you like it to be minimum work as well. But usually when you don't buy the spare, you end up having that happen to you. Now, sometimes when you are repairing machinery, you don't always have a exploded view drawing manual that went with the machine that you bought secondhand, and somewhere along the way that has been lost, and you can't find anything on the internet or whatever. So you've got to logically figure out, or you try to be logically and figure out how to disassemble something. But when you get into something like this ring that goes on his face, and that's what it is, it's a locking collar that goes right in on the face here, and it has an area on the ring there, and it has a locking bolt it goes through with two slides here, and that's holding it in there. Was probably the most likely way that the original break started on here, and that was getting this off of here and not realizing that the locking bolt with the sliding slugs in there was actually holding it, and then forced those two ears to be broken off. So anyhow, I'm going to bring you on in and let's get a close look at this before we start whittling away on a piece of material. And the closing's what I'm gonna do, the part in the closing. Then we'll come back. We've got some milling operations. There's going to be some slicing, dicing, and some hole pattern, countersinking, and slaughter too. Okay, first off, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to slide the bearing carrier out of here, and I'm going to set that on the table here. Okay, now there's a couple of unique things about this carrier, and it has a nice bronze gear here, and it goes around this. These are Acme thread. Now, only because I was able to go ahead and take and rotate this around, I can see a lead here and I can see a lead here, but there's another way to go ahead and check for a double lead, and it's at that thread there now, just below it, and with one revolution I'm putting a line right here. One revolution will bring it up to just underneath that line right there. There's the other lead right there. Okay, that's one revolution. So it's a bronze gear with double lead Acme thread. Okay, this is cut out so that the gear can match up with the bevel gear on the 90 degree. I don't know how this can travel in and out and how it maintains the contact on that, but that's not what this project's all about. But this gives you an idea of what's actually kind of working in here on this head. All right, now we have the collar that actually goes around this and sets down. This face actually kind of supports that gear, and with this bolted in, that's kind of, it thrusts that gear, and then as the gear goes around, then this protrudes out the end. Okay, so that's how it controls the feed or the spindle in and out. All right, let's go ahead and set this down here. And of course, if you look at this, you can see how this has got a dark spot here. Let me get my fat hand out of the way. We have a dark spot here, and then this is semi-fresh right in here, and this is all dark right here. So this half right here, this side of it, probably broke a long time ago, and then it had cracked this area here, and then this section right here was the most recent break. When that happened, not exactly sure as far as time, before Tom had it or after Tom had it. It more than likely, it probably still happened before that, because he was trying to get this thing apart, and you can see some shininess right in there and some shininess right over here. So this thing was probably setting in there, and after it broke, raised up surfaces on the side here. You got a little bit of a scalloped out area here where those two slugs come down to grab your tension right here. That's what draws it together. And these two components fit in there like that, and if we pull it back and back there, okay, we probably got just a little bit more that it can come back here, and of course that can too. Okay, that's probably about 1/8 of an inch of gap. It'll probably be about 1/8 of an inch. That's probably what we'll have as far as a cutter to come in there. So we're going to be creating a ring, and we got to put a slice. We got to slice it so that we actually have this slice, and then we're also going to have this slice here. So we're going to be thinking about that while we're doing this project, doing the turning part of the project. Now, the other molesting happened along this surface right here from sticking pry bars and pliers and all of that. I'm going to flip this over because it's really evident right here. I mean, you got some raised up area. I'm going to be dressing all of that off smooth and kind of lapping this face just so we can claim somewhat of a flat surface around here. I don't really want to take any material off of there or machine any material off of there. I just want to make sure that it's clean and flat and there's no high spots. Alright, the hole pattern, get both of these chunks out of here. Alright, now we know this is the broken side. Oh, I know this went in here like this. Okay, and it has some raised up area of metal and it won't actually go in there. So there was a lot of distortion that was going on with molesting this piece, trying to get it out of here. But I'm looking down in there, and of course you can see that we got these 6 holes right here. Now these 6 holes, I marked them right here. Now this one down here happens to be dubbed in with another hole. There's actually there's 1, 2, 3, 4 other holes that were put in here for some reason. Somebody might have had another, when they caused the first damage or whatever, they might have wanted to put something else on there. And that was the whole pattern that maybe held a seal ring or whatever. But then, you know, they probably found out that they can't, you need to clamp this, otherwise this thing would probably chatter like a son of a gun. And so, you know, it's kind of, I'm just observing that. You have 2 other holes right here, and those are for set screws with dog points. And everybody has one of these, right? One of these old plastic cases like this. This actually came out of my dad's garage, and that was, you know, that was when I was growing up, so 50 plus years ago. This was in here. Not, well, some of the stuff actually still might be my dad's originally. Okay, we'll zoom in and we'll get a picture of that, but that's a dog point. It may actually be the right size too. Okay, it screws into the 1/4 inch there, and if you look at it, these 2 slugs right here, this is how it would go in. This is the inside, so that this adjusting head will be over here. Alright, and that dog point would set right in there and just keep that from rotating. Both of these need to close, open and close, and by having the dog points in here, it created the keyway. Sometimes keyways don't have to be square and one female opposing another female splitting the key. Sometimes the dog points were used to actually do that. Now you couldn't get these dog points out, but they're probably set in there with like Loctite, and that part still would have been able to push out that way, and that still would have been able to push out that way if you took the bolt out, and then they would have been free and clear, and then that ring would have came out with ease, if that was what caused the break. It's only suggestion on my part that that's how it happened. Alright, I'm just going to take a quick look right here, see if I got another dog point in here, and I do have a couple other ones. They have a real short thread, long point. Alright, I'll get a picture of those. This actually has a national fine thread on it. This is national coarse thread on it. But that's what a dog point is looks like, and that's what's referred to that part. Okay, I'm just going to show you the engagement on this dog point here. I got a new little toy here to play with, and so we're going to screw this dog point in. There we go. Okay, the dog point comes down through the bore, and we don't want stick out any threads. I think that's going to be good right there. If we need more, we'll add it. Alright, now we're going to take and we're going to get a view down through the underneath here. Let me get my camera stuck through here. There we go. Get the right angle of the dangle here. Okay, there you go. All right, the slug comes down in there, and this is the one with the threads on it, and it slides right over the dog point and then keeps it from rotating around. All right, now the reason why you can't see all the surface below that dog point there is because when you drop that down, it hits that face. That's where that bottoms out. Okay, see if I can actually, that, you see how dirty that fingernail was? All right, so you know, this is gonna be fun. I can't wait to take this in on a boring job. All right, so that's how the dog point works. I'm gonna go ahead and we'll put away our little toy here for another day. Okay, I'm gonna unscrew this here so I don't lose it and put it away. Actually, I'm gonna get in the catalog, and I'm probably gonna order 2 new ones in here, see if I can get something that fits that keyway just a little better, if there's such a thing. I think I just learned you all that you can learn there on a dog point, with the exception of you can buy them with probably a nylon insert, and that's what I want to pick up on there, so that it actually will keep it from vibrating in and out, and that's really what should be in here, just so it doesn't back out and these don't spin in there. Yeah, this starts spinning around, let's just say that thread gets jammed up and that gets spinning around in there, you can get into a hassle there, and you would probably put a little molestation around this outside here and things like that. So there we have. Let's grab the ring here, and I have a piece of material. Have a piece of material, and it's almost exactly the same size as the piece that wasn't ductile iron. It has a little bit more on the OD, but it's closer to being on the length, which is really good. And so that's what we're going to use to make that part. And I chose impact resistant ductile. I just wanted it to be a little bit firmer. And also too, we're going to be slicing and dicing this component here. And these 2 ears are going to be sticking out. I mean, that's almost 3.5 inches around the radius right there. That you're asking these to flex slightly. You know, that's how close this thing has got to be to that diameter there. That needs to be somewhat support and be able to lock with just a little bit of a cinch. That's it. And this OD right here actually fits this bore right here. Okay, I've already unscrewed the jaws out here to have it pretty well semi-ready to go. I got a pair of parallels. I picked this up. I think I got these down in Wellfleet. They're Anton Machine Works, Brooklyn, New York. They're stamped 1/4x2. There's quite a few in the set that I have. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to set that way. And I'm going to go ahead and put this side towards the chuck. No reason. There is automatic feed where they fed the stock right there, so I'm going to put that between 2 of the jaws, and I'm going to put the other parallel here. Alright, it's a saw cut, but it's a pretty clean saw cut. Alright, now I'm just going to get some shit on here. Alright, now let's go ahead and spin it here. I'm not going to spin it real fast. And that's spinning true at the back, and the section in the jaws really look good. This is fluctuating in and out a little bit, and this face is pretty darn close. So I like that. Alright, just double check my tension here. Okay, good to go. Let's get the bit set up here. Okay, and this is This is the same setup and bit that I had in the video, the blooper video, and I have a piece of key stock here because I'm running the bit upside down. And let me loosen this up here because it's not in the position I want to run it anyway. Let's bring the center in here. And that's how I originally set that, was setting the tip or the cutting edge slightly above the center, because we're going to be turning this thing backwards. So I want to I'm actually above center line instead of below center line, as it the other way. You always want to try to get as close as you can to center line so it gives you true cut and it going into the depth. But always make sure that your tool bit is never going to be above the and suck into the part. Anyway, we go ahead and move that back, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to turn this kind of in this area here. We're going to come over, we're going to make sure we got jaw clearance, everything's kosher in here, kind of like that. A little bit of a lead angle, just so I got, you know, forward angle to it. It just gives a little better performance, I think. And we're pretty well set right there. All right, I'm going to grab a towel, the same towel I had before, and I'm just sliding this in here. I tuck it in real close here to the cross slide. I have some pretty good sized magnets that really helps it from coming loose, sliding. And then I tuck this all down in here because it'll probably be a pretty good size amount of chips coming out of this thing, and they'll settle down there. The reason why I run the bit upside down is so that the force and the spray of the chip is going to go downward and not float around. I'm not going to be spinning this extremely fast because I don't want to fly it all the way around. I don't want the, you know, the dust to make its way around. And if I see a lot coming out, sometimes I'll run a towel on the back side over here, just so that if I back away from my part, I'm not going to be running onto the cast material on the ways on that side. All right, and we're going to be running medium feed, and change the direction. And let's see how we're doing on the feed direction. We need to change that as well. All right, we're set up. All right, here we go. We're getting ready to make our first cut, and the width of this is actually 1/700 is my finished width, and this material here is 320. So we can take a pretty good cut across there. We're going to set this up and we're going to take a look at it, and we're going to take a look at it from the top and the bottom. Okay, here we go. Okay, we touched off 0. All right, I set my dial here at 0 so I kind of keep track of what we got going on. Let's see if she handles the 100 thousandths. Pretty good size diameter. That's doing pretty good. Finally got the lighting right. got a pretty good spray of chips coming down here into the pan. Meaning my rag here that's catching it. We will see if we can slow that down a little bit in the editing. Maybe we might have a couple areas that look pretty cool with the chips flying off of there a little slower. The naked eye actually, they are pretty blurry, but it's a darn good close-up right there. This is a good add-on. I got to thank my my best friend Vince there for picking me up the camera over in Hong Kong during the last winter here. This is my first time trying it out. He knows that I like to try to get into some of those close shots, and this is going to come into handy in a lot of rebuilds where we need to get in and we need to see something that you can't see from the outside. Okay, yeah, we're coming into the center. We just want to see how close we were on the height there.